Welcome to week number 8. This week we're going to be addressing something that you most likely think you've already created, but I'd ask that you be open-minded to the idea that a change could be to your benefit. The topic is how to title your book. Now I know you think you've already titled it. It was probably the first part of the book that you wrote, and that's fine. It was good to create a mental compass for you, and now that it's done, it may need a revision, especially after I cover what makes an effective book title, and maybe even more importantly, what makes a poor book title. So let's address this. Everything has a trend. Clothes, architecture, website design, music, these are a few examples. If you wear clothes designed in the 70s today, that look won't have you be taken seriously. Likewise, book covers have trends. For example, how-to books were very popular in the 70s and the 80s. And if your title says how to anything, it's probably going to look dated and old before it's even printed. So here's some quick tips to make sure that your book sounds current and relevant. Number 1, the fewer the words, the better. 1 word is best, 2 is great, 3 is good. Anything after that, you might want to think about using your idea as a subtitle instead of a title. So here's some examples of great titles. Bold, FitBiz, Abundance, Principles, Unoffendable, Profit First, Safe City, 24 Assets, Walkable City, Collaboration Economy, Breeding Gazelles, Climate of Hope, 1 Hour Marketing, 4-Hour Workweek, Profitable CEO. Now here's some bad examples. What got you here won't get you there. 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership, The 5 Temptations of a CEO, Turn your blood, sweat, and tears into cash, Stop chasing perfection and settle for excellence, Developing and sustaining excellent packaging, labeling, and artwork capabilities. Now there is a balance between that first bit of advice and the one that I'm about to give you. You have the opportunity to choose a title and a subtitle. For some, their subtitle should actually just be their title. And for others, their title should really be their subtitle. There's no science here, it's all art. And there aren't any rules, there's only guidelines. Your book title should, as much as possible, explain what the promise of the book is. So some good examples would be things like Walkable City, Safe City, the book on public speaking, although that is 5 words. Sell you before you sell. Once again, longer title, but it explains what it is. The high cost of free parking. Again, 5 words. So some of these titles, while very effective at saying what the book is about, violate the first suggestion of keeping the title as short as possible. If you need to have a few extra words to eliminate the need for a subtitle, well, it might be worth it. I was willing to sacrifice the first suggestion of a short title in the book on public speaking in order to eliminate the need for a subtitle. Some titles are unclear on what they're about and they may need a subtitle. For example, Bold, Audacity, Story Selling. And by the way, that book contains a collection of stories about a guy who sold his whole life, not about how to use stories to sell. Unoffendable. This is a book that is specifically written for Christians, and you don't know it just reading the title alone. Live It. This is a self-help book, but it doesn't tell me what type of self-help book. All these titles could benefit from a specific subtitle that helps the reader know what the book is about. Now I'm going to contradict myself again to show you how they aren't rules, they're just guidelines. Another tip is to use a title that's so symbolic it has nothing to do with the content of the book, other than some obscure reference. But the reference is built around an entire brand and hidden somewhere in the book. Some examples of that would be Shoe Dog. That's about Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. The Icarus Deception. Chaos Monkeys. Herding Cats and Coders. What the Dog Saw. Blink. This naming style is best used for fiction books, not as much for business books, but if done right, it can be pretty cool, like with the Malcolm Gladwell books. The best advice I can give you is this. Don't get addicted to your title. Split test it with your second and third favorite to see which polls better to your target reader. If your favorite title doesn't win, let it go. Here's a great example of this. Jordan Jenkins wanted to name her first book, And I Never Saw My Father Again. It's a book about divorce. It didn't poll as well as War or Peace. So she shelved her favorite book title and saved it for a more personal, cathartic book, which was her second book, and she named her first book War or Peace. Here's 2 more examples. Failing Successfully. Well, nobody liked the title in the forum, but she ignored it and she named her book a title that nobody wanted, and it didn't sell well. Ironically, her subtitle, Life After Debt, was way more popular and indicates what the book is about more accurately. This is a case where the subtitle should have probably been the title as well. And here's one of the worst examples I've ever seen. Stop Chasing Perfection and Settle for Excellence. Not only is the title horribly long, it didn't poll well, but I was so in love with it, I used it anyway. A better title, although equally long, would have been something like The Quest for Perfection, or Chasing Perfection, or even Settle for Excellence without the part about stopping chasing perfection would have still been better. Why? Because people want to be perfect. This is why Lexus's Lexus's or Lexus, I'm not sure how you say that. This is why the slogan by Lexus, the relentless pursuit of perfection, is so strong. Well, I'm sure you can see now that using all of these suggestions isn't easy. They often contradict one another, and that's all right. The important thing to remember is this. Ask your target reader which title they like. Their opinion means more than yours or mine. By the way, do you know why shorter titles are better? Because you can make the font bigger on the cover. Why is that better? Because it's easier to read when the book is only 1 inch wide, which is about the size used on all online bookstores like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If your title can't be read, the book most likely won't ever get clicked on or read, which leads us to next week's topic, cover design. But take this week to poll your audience on the title. We'll deal with the designing of the cover next week.